Welcome to Drift Diaries, relaxing travel tales. Close your eyes, let the noise of the day ebb away until only the sea remains. Here, the world moves at the speed of tide and breath. Today, I'm drifting through the Maldives, a scatter of islands strewn across the Indian Ocean, like pearls on blue silk. From above, they glimmer, circles of sand and coral, floating on 1,000 shades of turquoise. The air is thick with salt and light. Palm leaves whisper as if sharing secrets. Even time feels gentle here. The seaplane drops low. Its shadow slides over reefs, alive with color. When we touch down, the engines fall silent and the islands take over the conversation. Wind, wave, and the slow creak of wood on water. I step onto the jetty and inhale. Sun, salt, coconut oil, a hint of mango, the scent of arriving somewhere good. Beneath the boards, the lagoon is so clear that fish cast shadows on the sand. A boat waits. The captain smiles. Barefoot, sun-browned, unhurried. We drift away from the dock, and the world shrinks to the sound of water curling behind us. The island ahead is green and gold, a perfect curve against the sky. As we approach, I realize I've forgotten what hurry feels like. Everything here moves with the grace of breathing. The journey from air to sea is a blur of light. Below me, the water is so clear that coral seems to float in midair. The pilot waves goodbye, and within seconds, the plane is a dot against the sky. Silence returns, not emptiness, but a living hush. I walk the jetty, boards warm underfoot. Each step echoes faintly, then melts into the sea. A heron glides past, its reflection a perfect ghost beneath. Palm fronds lean toward me, casting lacework shadows on the sand. At the welcome hut, someone hands me a cool towel and a drink made from fresh coconut water. It tastes of sunlight and salt. The path winds through the trees. Every few steps, a new sound. Wind through pandanus leaves. The crackle of tiny geckos racing up the trunks. The gentle lap of the lagoon beyond. I stop often, not because I'm tired, but because the island insists. It asks you to notice the way light flickers on water, the smell of driftwood drying in the sun, the hum of life you didn't realize you were missing. By the time I reach the villa, the day has settled into a soft quiet. I stand on the deck and watch tiny ripples fold against the shore. Somewhere, a radio plays a song in a language I don't know but understand anyway. This is arrival, not just in place, but in peace. Morning spreads like a whisper. The sky turns rose, then gold, then a blue so pure it seems painted fresh for this moment. I walk along the shoreline. The sand is cool beneath my feet, powder soft. Each footprint fills slowly with water, then vanishes. Proof that nothing here wants to be permanent. A small boat moves along the reef, its wake catching light like liquid silver. A child calls to someone on the shore, then laughs as the wind carries the sound away. Breakfast is a coconut split, fresh from the tree, and a plate of papaya that tastes like sunshine. The tea is black and sweet, steam rising in lazy ribbons. Afterward, I stretch in a hammock between two palms. The world rocks me gently. Above, the leaves shift and let the light through in patches that warm my skin. I watch the sky and think of how long it's been since I let time pass without grasping at it. Here, there's nothing to achieve, only to notice. When a breeze arrives from the west, it brings the smell of rain far out at sea. Clouds gather and drift on without breaking. like thoughts you've already forgiven. I close my eyes. The waves count for me. By late morning, the sun is a coin of gold overhead. I wade into the lagoon until the water lifts me and the shore drops away. Sound changes. The world above becomes a rumor. The world below a cathedral. I float face down, arms loose, breathing through the snorkel. Sunlight fractures into shafts that ripple across the sand. Every shadow is alive. Parrotfish graze at the reef like horses in slow motion. Anemones pulse with color that seems to breathe. A turtle glides past, so close I could touch the pattern of its shell. But don't. Below me, the reef drops suddenly into blue. It feels like staring into forever. I kick once, twice, and follow the edge of the drop. Schools of silverfish move as one body. The ocean has its own language, clicks, hums, and the steady thrum of life. When I surface, the sky is blindingly bright. Water runs from my hair and returns to the sea it came from. A small crab on the shore waves a claw as if welcoming me back. I lie on my back in the shallows. Each wave lifts me a fraction, lays me down again. Time becomes circular, a tide that never ends. When I close my eyes, I can still see the shapes of coral burned into the dark. They pulse like memories that don't need words. Later, I eat lunch beneath a palm. Grilled fish, lime, steamed rice. The taste is simple and honest, the sort that asks for nothing. A cat appears from nowhere, tail high, eyes green as the lagoon. I share a small piece. It stays a while, then wanders off without thanks. The heat deepens. The air shimmers. Even the wind rests. I stretch out on the sand and watch clouds build like mountains in the sky. Every few minutes, a wave reaches just far enough to kiss my toes. Nothing demands my attention, and because of that, everything does. By noon, the island sinks into its own shadow. The light turns thick and gold. The sea loses its edge and becomes glass. I retreat to the shade of a thatched hut. The roof smells of sun and salt. A fan turns overhead in lazy circles. Outside, the lagoon holds its breath. A gecko appears on the rafter, eyes like molten amber. It clicks twice, then vanishes into the thatched roof. Even the creatures seem to know that this is a time for quiet. I lie on the deck and watch light drift through the gaps in the palm leaves. Dust motes float like slow planets in a private universe. Outside, the ocean moves just enough to remind me it's still there. The air is heavy with frangipani and warm wood. A faint song from a radio rises and falls with the breeze. The language is different, but the melancholy in the melody is universal. I think about the people who live here year-round, their patience, their rhythm with the sea. They don't fight the tide, they follow it. Perhaps that's why the Maldives feel like a lesson in letting go. Hours pass without urgency. A shadow lengthens across the floorboards. A hermit crab traces its path across the sand below. I realize I've barely spoken all day, and it feels like healing. When the heat finally breaks, a breeze slides off the sea like forgiveness. The palm leaves stir. Somewhere, a bird calls once and stops. The day turns toward evening. The air smells of salt and possibility. Soon, the sky will set itself on fire. The heat eases. The day exhales. Light thickens to amber and rose as the sun tilts toward the edge of the world. Palms cast long shadows that stretch over the sand like fingers reaching for the tide. I walk to the western shore where the lagoon opens wide to the horizon. The sea is a sheet of molten gold. Every ripple fractures it into sparkling pieces. Children play in the shallows, their voices echoing across water, softened by distance. A boat returns from fishing. The crew sing a low song that rises and falls with the engine's hum. I sit on the jetty and let my feet dangle in the cooler water. Tiny fish nibble curiously at my toes before darting away like silver arrows. The sky deepens to tangerine, then copper, then a fierce, brief red. For a moment, the whole world holds its breath as the sun slips beneath the line of the sea. Applause of waves, a bird calls, then twilight. Lanterns bloom along the path, their light wobbling on the surface of the lagoon. Dinner fires crackle behind me. Spice and smoke ride the air. I think of everything I've ever chased and how little of it matters right now. As night arrives, the first stars appear like small forgivenesses scattered across the sky. I sit until the lanterns fade to fireflies, and the fireflies to stars. Darkness arrives like a tide rather than a curtain. The sand glows pale under starlight. The sea becomes a mirror of the heavens. I lie back on the beach and watch the Milky Way unfurl like a silver river. Each wave that breaks is a whisper of something older than memory. The air is thick with salt and silence. I listen and feel my own breathing, slow to match the ocean's. Far out on the horizon, lightning flashes inside a cloud, turning it white for an instant. Somewhere, a bird calls once and is gone. Thought melts into sensation. Warm sand, cool breeze, the steady sound of forever. I think of how many travelers have stood here before, watched this same sky, felt this same awe. The world changes, but the drift remains. I close my eyes and let the sea finish my sentences. Every wave says, I'm still here. Every breath answers, so am I. Thank you for drifting with me through the Maldives. May the rhythm of waves and the soft breath of the ocean stay with you long after this journey ends. If these moments brought you calm, subscribe and join me again for the next Drift Diary. Through forests, mountains, cities, asleep beneath rain. Until then, close your eyes, breathe in, and let the world drift by. The ocean never truly ends. It only leads to another shore. As the waves of the Maldives fade into memory, new horizons begin to stir on the edge of the map. In the months ahead, Drift Diaries will wander farther, through lands of color, rhythm, and stillness. Our next journey begins in India, where dawn spills gold over the Ganges, and temple bells echo through the mist. We'll drift through spice-scented streets and quiet Himalayan valleys, follow the desert winds of Rajasthan and the monsoon rains that paint the earth green again. Here, peace hides in unexpected corners, in the hum of markets, the laughter of strangers, and the long silence between train stations. From there, we'll turn west, across the Mediterranean to the Greek Isles, whitewashed cliffs and sapphire seas where history sleeps beneath the waves. We'll wander through sun-bleached alleys, linger beneath olive trees, and listen to the hum of cicadas as the Aegean drifts into twilight. Every island will tell its own story, of gods and poets, of love that lingers like salt on skin, of sunsets that never hurry to end. Beyond that waits the Amazon, green and endless. Here, the air itself seems alive. Mist coils through the canopy as unseen creatures sing the forest awake. We'll glide down rivers the color of bronze, where time moves as slowly as the current. Every drop of rain will tell a story older than language. Every echo in the jungle will remind us how vast and ancient the world truly is. And then, light again, south across the equator to the Great Barrier Reef, where coral blooms beneath the water like living fire. We'll dive into a world of color and calm, drifting between gardens of coral, following the slow ballet of sea turtles and rays. In this underwater cathedral, silence is sacred, and movement is prayer. Each journey will be its own meditation, a place to rest, to breathe, to remember how beautiful the planet still is, whether it's the hum of monsoon rain on a tin roof, the hush of sand between Greek stones, or the deep pulse of the reef. Every sound, every image will carry you further into stillness. This is only the beginning. Drift Diaries will travel wherever calm can be found, across oceans, through forests, over mountains, and deep beneath the sea. Each tale will be told in whispers and waves, where the noise of the world fades and the earth's quiet voice can finally be heard. So stay close, keep drifting, and let the journey continue.